What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Zaynomics Gaming. Don't forget, if you enjoy the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Now let's get right into the video. As many of you may know, Season of the Splicer began on May 11th. I'm sure many of you have been grinding a lot just like me. Today, I wanted to go over the new exotic sidearm. I can't pronounce the name properly, so I'll just call it Freeze Pop. This exotic sidearm is available in the Season Pass. You can get it at rank 1 for my premium players and also on rank 35 for my free-to-play players. I'm going to jump in and just say that this weapon isn't for everyone. It has a few fundamental downsides. I'll explain why in a second. But first, I want to mention that there is a catalyst for this weapon, but I do not plan on completing it until I unlock the catalyst progress boost inside of the Season Pass. This weapon isn't worth it to grind for the catalyst as of this moment, in my opinion. It just doesn't have the stopping power as the past seasonal exotics had. The catalyst is easy to get, but one of the requirements is to calibrate data. The amount is 200 for the completion of this step. If you win a match inside of the Crucible, you will get 2 points. If you lose, then you will only get 1 point. The Nightfall strikes award more points, but can take longer to complete. In theory, you would need to complete the Nightfall strikes on Legend or Master difficulty. The harder it is, the more points you get. Now, with this weapon being mediocre at best, I personally don't think you should waste your time trying to complete the catalyst when there is the other things to work towards, like the new exotics inside of the Lost Sectors or participating in the new override activity. If the weapon felt better, then I may feel differently about getting the catalyst as soon as possible. Freeze Pop has great handling and speed. The major drawback to this weapon is target acquisition and the new perk Liquid Cooling. There's been a few times where I would shoot my LN2 shot and my opponent would not get frozen inside of the Crucible, and when I was able to freeze my opponents, I would have to reload the weapon. Immediately swapping to a shotgun was not the answer either, due to quick draw getting nerfed as well as it being removed from aggressive shotguns. Inside of the Crucible, your opponents would only stay frozen for roughly 1 second. That's not long enough to reload Freeze Pop. Another major drawback is the range is downright awful. Roughly 16 meters is all that you will get out of this thing. That virtually allows you to be outgunned by almost anything inside the game. Playing aggressive and hitting your shots are critical for this weapon, since Freeze Pop has no forgiveness. Now, I know I said LN2 shot earlier, so basically Liquid Cooling perk, it works as if like a kill clip or anything associated with it. So if you get a kill with this weapon, you can automatically shoot your freeze bomb, I guess you'd call it. That's what I call it. It basically shoots like a snowball at your enemies, and that will freeze them. But I find inside of the Crucible, if you shoot at an opponent and you freeze them, and you'll see in the background gameplay, they don't stay frozen for long. It's not like using your actual abilities. But I feel like if you have a higher resilience, it seems like you don't get frozen at all, because some opponents I have shot at and they only lose a lot of health. They don't get frozen. So they can still counter you, and the next thing you know, you don't have any more ammo. Now, to use this weapon efficiently inside of the Crucible, you're gonna wanna get your kills and then wait till you only have like 2 rounds left in the magazine and then shoot your LN2 shot. If you shoot your LN2 shot while you have a full magazine left, then you'll be out of bullets. I rather personally use the bullets that I have and then try to go for the freeze at the last moment if I absolutely have to. Now, for this sidearm, since it doesn't work as well as I would like it to, and I know why it doesn't, Bungie doesn't want to put or introduce a game-breaking weapon inside the game, especially when it involves stasis. You know, a lot of people have their opinions about being frozen, and if you could just freeze people automatically all the time, a lot of people would have, well, the community would sort of have an outrage over that. A lot of people don't enjoy it. I personally don't enjoy it myself, but if you're going to introduce a weapon that has the capability of freezing enemies, I feel like it should be longer than 1 second. It at least has to be long enough to get a reload off, and then, you know, there'll be some form of duel or something like that. If you freeze somebody now and you go to reload, since the reload speed's not that great, they'll end up popping out of the freeze, shotgunning you, and you're just dead. So to me, this sidearm really isn't worth it inside the Crucible. I feel like with this sidearm, I'm using it as a legendary sidearm, I'm not really taking advantage of that liquid cooling perk, and that's what makes the weapon unique. And if I can't really efficiently use that exotic trait, then there's no point in me using this weapon. Now PvE is a different story. Now for PvE, this is a fun weapon to use. I wouldn't say that it's ground or game breaking. It doesn't have like the best DPS or anything like that. It's really not made for that, in my opinion. It's made just solely to have fun with, you know, freeze people, you know, come up with some stasis builds. I haven't had an opportunity yet to look at the artifact this season, so I'm not sure if we have any stasis mods so we can make like a really cool build with it. I'm looking forward to the future, hoping that they come out with more stasis related exotic armor pieces, or even other weapons too. The biggest takeaway for PvE use anyways is the freezing capability does last a lot longer, significantly longer, like 8 times longer. If you freeze any trash ads or even some yellow bars, I was getting roughly an 8-second window of where they were frozen. Now that's significantly different than inside the Crucible. I'm not sure if that was intentional. Like I said, I'm sure Bungie didn't want anyone to be frozen that long inside the Crucible, and I can agree, definitely not that long, but 1 second inside the Crucible just isn't long enough to me for this type of weapon, especially for what you lose. You know, you're using up your whole magazine, like I said before. Also, the range is a little bit better. I would say probably 2 extra meters. You're looking at about 18 meters you could probably squeeze out of it, especially for that last LN2 shot. And I know I'm saying LN2 for those of you out there that doesn't know what LN2 means. It's basically liquid nitrogen. I'm just cutting it short. The actual perk on the left side of the screen, after you get a kill, you'll see LN2 burst ready. You do get an 8-second, I want to say 8 to 9 second window to fire off that shot. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it in regards to this weapon for PvE. The only artifact mod that we have this season for sidearms is Unstoppable Sidearm, but at that point, I'd rather use Devil's Ruin if I'm gonna take up an exotic slot. And everybody should know how I feel about exotic slots, especially when we're going into like Grandmaster or Master Nightfalls, or, you know, the higher end content. You know, I'm usually using Anarchy, and I feel like grenade launchers are really going to take off this season, because we have a lot of mods that deal with grenade launchers themselves. So there's nothing really to use to pair with this sidearm other than charge with light mods, stuff like that. Like I said, it's a cool weapon to play with, but it's not game breaking. You know, obviously the best players, especially inside of the Crucible, they're going to wreck with whatever weapon. It doesn't matter. It could be blue, it could be a white weapon. You will see that, especially with this weapon, you know, at freeze pop, you'll see them, they'll go in there and they'll get 50 defeats. But for the average person, even like myself, you know, I'm not the best Crucible player. I much rather use something I'm more comfortable with other than this sidearm, especially this one. I feel like you can do better with like Devil's Ruin, because you get that lasered shot. For me personally, I feel like Bungie kind of dropped the ball with this weapon. Is it cool? Yeah, it is. Can you freeze people? Of course. Is it stasis? Definitely. It's a cool looking weapon. It's cool in theory, but it's probably the worst exotic sidearm in the game, and I literally mean that. There are quite a few legendary sidearms that I would take definitely any day over freeze pop. Now, if I had to rank them, Traveler's Chosen would be #1 for me, then Rat King, then Devil's Ruin, and then this one, freeze pop. I'm sure you can tell by my sarcastic enthusiasm that I'm not really into this weapon that much, but I figured I'd review it anyways, because you never know. Tiku's Divination, it really took off for me. I really enjoy that weapon, like a lot. It's probably one of my top rated exotics, but like I said, I figured I'd review this weapon for you guys. And like I said back to the beginning of the video, I feel like this weapon just isn't worth it for the amount of work that is needed to get the catalyst right now, I wouldn't worry about getting it right now because the weapon is just subpar. It's not the best in the world. So if it were me, I would wait until you get to that rank where you unlock the catalyst booster. That way you can efficiently grind out the catalyst at a much faster rate and then go back in and try it. Like I said, if the weapon was outstanding and I just fell in love with it, of course I'd be grinding out for the catalyst right now. But I feel like there's other things that you can be doing instead of grinding out this catalyst, since the weapon is just okay. It's not great to me. I feel like I said, Bungie kind of dropped the ball with the seasonal exotic, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you swing and miss, and hopefully the next season, I think it's August 24th is when the next season will begin. Maybe they'll have something a little bit better. I will be reviewing the new legendary weapons, as well as making a guide over the new override activity, so please keep on the lookout for that. And I just want to thank you all for coming and watching today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, even if it's a hateful comment. All comments are welcomed, and rest assured that I will respond to them. But please respect my opinion as well as I will respect yours. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you all so much.